Hey everyone, what is going on? My name's Archer Live, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the situation with Telltale Games. I wanted to do a special video this week to commemorate the loss, the collapse, so to speak, of the game developer, because they've meant a lot to me over the last few years. Their games have been particularly special, I should say. I know that Life is Strange is my favourite episodic game, my favourite game of all time, but Telltale Games have had some excellent titles over the last few years, and I don't know, to me, it's a really sad time to see the game studio collapse and to see everyone be out of a job. There's a lot of discussion going on about the good and bad sides to do with it, and I do recommend watching other people's videos, because there are other people who will go into a lot more detail than I will. This is more of a personal thing. I will touch a bit more on the news and my thoughts on that, but not to as much of an extent as just talking about what I will miss about the studio. And the main aim of this video really is first off to take a little break from Payday 2. I just want to give it a week off because we did two pretty big videos last week and I figured it was good to just leave it to sit for a little bit. But also I want to know everyone else's opinions, because there are a lot of people who have played Telltale Games who are subscribed to me, and my idea is that the things that I'm talking about in this video, if you want to share your opinions on it, if there are any games you want to talk about from Telltale that you'll miss or that you were looking forward to, get some comments down below, let me know what you think, and basically just I wanted to talk about it and just get my thoughts out. I'm not really sure how much I'll edit this video, because I feel like the less I edit it, the more natural and the more raw it's going to be, because getting thoughts out is not necessarily in as much need of scripting as a Payday 2 video is. I mean, I don't really script Payday 2 videos too much, but I tend to retake a lot of different lines in videos a lot, and I feel like this time I'll probably take that back a little bit. I'll probably turn that down a little bit and just cover a few things that I wanted to share my thoughts on. Now, as I've said, there are a lot of channels who have done very interesting and very informative videos on Telltale Games, and I do recommend you watch those, but for the context of people who don't know what the situation is, who aren't aware of what's going on, I figured I would just cover the very, very light ground. So on September the 21st, there were a lot of rumours going around about the state of Telltale Games. There were rumours starting to pour out. People had been put out of a job, the studio was closing down, and then a few hours after those rumours started to surface, an official statement was posted on Telltale Games' social media accounts. The statement reads, "For immediate release, today Telltale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. A majority of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, with a small group of 25 employees staying on to fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners." CEO Pete Hawley issued the following statement. "It's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we work to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately, that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the games industry. Telltale will issue further comments regarding its product portfolio in the coming weeks." Now, some of you might remember that back in November of 2017, Telltale already had laid off 90 of its employees. There'd been a big restructuring in the company itself. They had 225 employees left, so it was roughly about a quarter of the staff that they laid off. They had a whole other amount of business with the former CEO, Kevin Bruner, I think his name is, who sued the company. There was a load of stuff going on there. I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to pretend that I do. Like I said, again, there will be other people who've covered that and we'll go into more detail. But there was a lot of bad things going on in Telltale Games in the 2016-2017 period. And the attitude that had come out of it was that in 2018, Telltale was going to come at things from a fresh perspective, and basically after a restructuring, they were going to hit it really hard and get some really good games out. And obviously, for those of you who are following The Walking Dead at the minute, the final season is currently 2 episodes in. At the time this statement was put out, it was only 1 episode in, and the second episode was going to release a couple of days after this statement came out. They also had to cancel The Wolf Among Us 2, which has been in talks for a super duper long time. They announced that game in 2017, I believe, and they said it was coming out in 2018. Then earlier this year, they put that back until 2019. And apparently, they also had a Stranger Things game in the works, which I didn't really know much about. And the only other confirmed thing that I was aware of was Game of Thrones Season 2, that was also in the works, but none of those games will unfortunately see the light of day. I doubt. I mean, there is a possibility some company could try and buy the rights to it, but it's a lot more complicated than just saying, oh, we're going to take the rights to this game and we're going to carry it on. There's a lot more legal stuff, and I honestly think that the chances of any of those games seeing the light of day are very minute. We're looking at like a 2%, 3% chance of something like that happening. So basically, it's safe to assume those games will never see the light of day, and the status of The Walking Dead, the final season, is very much in the air. Now, a lot of people have been putting the game before the jobs of the people who've, were working at Telltale before the game collapsed. And I just want to say, before I go into my own personal memories of the games, that please remember that the people who've lost their jobs are what matters here. There were 225 people working there, 200 of those have just been laid off. Their jobs are a lot more important than the current status of a game. None of those workers got any severance pay for their time, any overtime was not compensated completely, so they put a lot of time into games and basically have not got the compensation they deserve. And some members of staff were even hired as recently as a week before the announcement was made to close down. So it really was not a good move from Telltale to keep everyone in the dark. I really do feel very disappointed at that. I do think that they should have come out and been a bit more honest about the situation. They should have let their workforce in on what was happening. They should have been honest, but unfortunately they were not. And hindsight is a wonderful thing, but we're in the position that we're in now. They are in the position they're in now, should I say. And it's not a good one, but it's good to see that so many game developers have come out and have spoken out about job applications and are taking people in. It's really good to see. So hopefully they'll all find work really soon. And just before, as I said earlier, I touched on some of my own personal memories at the studio, just some things that I want to talk about myself as like memories of different games. I just want to cover the 25 Skeleton Crew because there's a lot of misconceptions going on around that. I just want to confirm that is not to work on The Walking Dead's final season. I'm aware there's 2 episodes left, and I will touch on that game in a bit, but to sum it up briefly, I think it's Telltale's best ever game, just putting it out there. But the situation is very much up in the air because that 25 Skeleton Crew, as it said in the statement, is there to fulfill its agreement with one of its partners, which is Netflix. They are apparently porting Minecraft Story Mode over as an interactive movie for Netflix. Now, I'm not going to pass too much of my opinions on that. All I will say is, why is that the focus? I mean, I get it's a business deal, but for a lot of people, that's going to be a bit of a sting. I mean, I can't really go into too much because I don't understand the legal aspect behind it. It's probably not a very easy thing to get out of, but for me to hear that, I'm not too happy about it. But I mean, what can I say? I mean, I can't really outspeak too much about it, but basically The Walking Dead, the final season, is very much up in the air. As I've said already, the jobs are more important, but to me, The Walking Dead does matter a lot as well, and I do want to know where that stands. But it was worth noting that only 2 days ago, another statement was put up by Telltale Games, and that also read, "Hi everyone. We have a Walking Dead update for you. Multiple potential partners have stepped forward to express interest in helping to see the final season through to completion. While we can't make any promises today, we are actively working towards a solution that will allow episodes 3 and 4 to be completed and released in some form. In the meantime, episode 2 will release tomorrow across all platforms as planned, and we hope to have answers for your other questions soon." So basically, that's where we're up to at the minute. By the time I put this video up, there could be something new, but I mean, I'm not going to constantly do videos in Telltale. I think the one is enough. But as long as the workforce actually find new jobs, I doubt that even if someone steps forward to save The Walking Dead, that's not going to change what's happening with the jobs. And also the people saying that, you know, they shouldn't focus on the game, they should focus on getting the payouts to the people who have lost their jobs. Telltale don't have that money. The money is gone. They have sunk the company into the ground. It doesn't matter whether somebody steps forward or not to help The Walking Dead. If they haven't been paid for their severance, they aren't going to get paid. I could have missed a detail there, but as far as I'm concerned, that's as far as I would, you know, take it. And that's what I would presume. It sucks, it really does, and Telltale, I really do feel disappointed in them for not paying their workforce, but hopefully we get them in other jobs and they can, you know, carry on the way they were. They've had all sorts of developers like Naughty Dog, EA, Deck 9, who made Life is Strange Before the Storm. I think Dontnod stepped forward as well. There are a ton of people who've offered jobs, so hopefully we see those very soon. But speaking about The Walking Dead, now is the bit that I want to do the most, which is just basically look back and reflect on Telltale Games as a company and as the games they've put out. So more focus on the developers than the people in the suits and the boards and the people who don't really, you know, give away too much in the company or don't really care about their workforce. The thing that matters here are the people who were behind the games, the people who designed every little texture, every little character, who helped every voice actor get a role in the games. They've had so much voice talent, and there's so much talent in itself in the people who made these games, and it deserves some recognition. So basically, my history with Telltale Games started off with the first season of The Walking Dead, as I'm aware that a lot of other people did. They did other games in the past, like a Sam and Max season, or a couple of seasons they might have done. I don't quite remember. I didn't follow it back then. The first season was the first game for me, and I only played that in 2013, so that was a year after it released, I believe. It was released on retail disc, and I found it in a shop called Asda in the UK. I think it's Walmart in the US is the alternative. I had no idea what a Telltale game was. I saw it on a shelf. I was out shopping with my mum, I think it was, and I'd not long started watching The Walking Dead, and I was like, can I get this? Because it's £10. My mum was like, yeah, I'll treat you to it. It's my mum's fault, really, that she got me into these. But she went with The Walking Dead, and I have to admit, I think that's the first video game that I'd ever cried at the ending for. Because, I mean, if you haven't seen the ending for the first season, I won't spoil it, but you should have done by now. It's been 6 years, for goodness sake, but if you have watched it, you know that a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people in general were completely heartbroken by it. It was such a powerful season. It did so many good things, and there are very, very few games by Telltale that have topped that. The first season with Lee and Clementine was absolutely amazing. And from there, I just got straight into Telltale Games. There are some I haven't played, such as Tales from the Borderlands. I've owned that game for a long time and only played the first episode for some reason. I recently purchased their Guardians of the Galaxy game, and I'm 3 episodes into that. That I'm quite liking, but honestly, at the time, I bought a lot more of the games that were releasing. I've owned The Wolf Among Us, which was an absolutely stellar game. I'm heartbroken they won't get to do the second game to that, but I'm glad that they didn't actually, start the releases and that we weren't caught halfway through the season like we are with The Walking Dead, because I think it would be better to not have anything at all in that situation, unless somebody had stepped forward to take over the game, which in that case would have been different. I get that. And the creator of Fables, which is what The Wolf Among Us was based off, Bill Willingham, has tweeted out saying that he was considering actually filling everyone in on the story for The Wolf Among Us 2, but he has since taken that tweet down and said that he doesn't think he'll be able to, so we may never know what about the cliffhanger from the first season. It wasn't exactly a major one, but it was something people wanted answers to, and we may never know what season 2 is going to comprise of. But honestly, it had been so long since the first game came out that I'm not quite as heartbroken by that. I am sad about it, and I know a lot of people were looking forward to it, and I was too, and it sucks that all the work that's gone into it is lost, but I don't know. I mean, The Wolf Among Us was such an amazing game, but it works better as a standalone than some other games would have done, like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead could go on for ages, but as we know, final season's happening in the minute. Another one I want to point out was Game of Thrones. That was not received nearly as well as I thought it had been in terms of sales and reviews, but honestly, Game of Thrones could be one of my favourites of all the ones they did. I really liked Game of Thrones game, not to mention the fact that it was 6 episodes rather than 5, so there was a lot more effort put into it in that front because there was an extra episode, but that last episode was very, very different based on a choice you made at the end of episode 5. I won't go into it because if you haven't played it, considering the sales were reduced, and you have watched Game of Thrones, go and play it. It is a brilliant game, and I love it and love it to bits. I probably will play through it again at some point. Maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But you made a choice at the end of episode 5, and basically what happened in episode 6 was completely different for one of the 3 characters you played as, depending on who you picked, but it was a very, very big chunk of the episode that you played as that character. That was the majority, as far as I know. So it was honestly brilliant, and to play it through the amount of times that I did and still enjoy it proved that it was something really deep and really powerful about it. And they left it open for a second series, but honestly, it's like an ending to a TV series or a film where they leave it open and say, we could do another film, we don't have to, but, the option's there. It wasn't something like, oh, I need answers, I need to know what's going to happen next, but I don't know, a second season would have been nice, but again, like The Wolf Among Us, a standalone is not that bad. Just having the one is better than having none at all. So that was a game that I really liked. And on top of that, the 2 Batman seasons. Now there's one that I really am disappointed there won't be another season of, especially considering the voice actor for the Joker, Anthony Ingruber, I think his name is, said he was really looking forward to season 3. Season 1 of Batman, the Telltale series, was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. And then the second season, it took everything up and dialed it up to 11. The last episode was absolutely phenomenal, and the stuff before it was brilliant. The development of the Joker as a character, without spoiling anything, was honestly, it was different to anything I'd ever seen before, and the performances from all the voice actors like Troy Baker were absolutely brilliant. So to not see a 3rd season of that is sad, but the 2 that we got are a really good trade-off, and I really enjoyed them. They were really good. Beyond that, there aren't a lot other Telltale games that I have played, honestly. The Walking Dead, Seasons 1, 2, 3, and Michonne. Michonne, I wasn't a fan of, I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people agree with that. I felt that was a bit unnecessary. But that leads me on to the other point I was going to say, which was about oversaturation. The main thing a lot of people have said about Telltale Games in the past before this whole situation was that Telltale were pushing themselves too far. They took on way too many contracts, they got too big too quickly, and they needed to take a step back and focus on just a few less IPs than they were focusing on. They took Minecraft on, which in my opinion was stupid. I mean, there are a lot of people who will have enjoyed it, and I'm not against any of those people or the developers who worked on it. In my opinion, though, Telltale did the adult, really gritty stuff, the mature content and all that, The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us. They did that really well, and to move to Minecraft, maybe it was successful, maybe it had YouTubers in, maybe kids liked it, but I think that should have been somebody else's job than Telltale. I honestly do. That's just my attitude. There's that. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm enjoying that. But people say, why did they do that? Why did they put time and effort into that when there was other stuff they should have been working on? And maybe that's part of the reason they didn't release Wolf Among Us 2 as fast as they could. Maybe that's because they were too busy rounding off other games. I don't know. I don't know the workings behind the scenes. But honestly, what I can say is that every game I played of Telltale's I enjoyed. Doesn't matter whether it was necessary or not. Doesn't matter whether some I liked more than others. There wasn't a single Telltale game that I finished and stepped out of and thought, that was a waste of time. And that's what matters. Every single story, every single thing that I played from Telltale was special and unique in its own way. And I will cherish every single one of those. The situation that we're at now with The Walking Dead, the final season, is honestly heartbreaking. I think I said earlier this is now probably my favorite Telltale game ever. To see Clem's story ending the way it is, or the way it's at least building to an end, and hopefully the episode 2 will be the last episode. I know people are worried about people stepping in for episodes 3 and 4, but as far as I'm concerned, according to the devs, most of it was already done. They'd already worked on a lot of it, and I figured they did this with Telltale anyway. They worked a lot in advance, because game development can't be done in just a month between episodes. They can't make a whole episode from scratch in that time. To say that would be such a ridiculous task. It would be insurmountable. But if somebody steps in, and sure, a few things change, not enough is going to change for me to make sure that it's not worth it. I don't care about the money. A lot of people want their refunds. I don't care, because when I got out the first 2 episodes, more than made up for it. I really just want to see the story end. It's been going on for 6 years. For me, 5, because I picked the game up a year after it started. But honestly, Season 4 has done so many things. It's revamped the quick time event system. The engine itself is the same, I'm pretty sure, but they've touched it up a lot and they made it a lot better. The choices felt a lot more... I don't know, I don't want to say like they changed the game a lot, because that's another thing with Telltale, is people have got used to the fact that choices don't make as much of a difference as you want. There are a few cases where they do, like Game of Thrones, like I said, that last episode. In that case, the last episode of Batman Season 2 was different depending on the choice you made in episode 4, so sometimes they do matter. But to me, it got to the point where I didn't even care. It didn't bother me that the choices didn't matter as much as you wanted to. It was the story that mattered, and with Clem and the story of The Walking Dead, the way it's built and the way it's grown, and the way that they've done relationships, should I say, in episode 2 of Season 4, because there is, without spoiling it too much, there's a romance road. I have to say that, amongst everything else, because so many things were handled so well, but that was done so perfectly that it made you look back, and it made you think, look how far Clementine's character has come across all these seasons, look how much has been done, and how much has changed, and I think that really is where Telltale will be remembered. The Walking Dead will be the game they're known for the most, and I hope it is. The Wolf Among Us, Guardians of the Galaxy even, Batman games, all that other stuff that were really good. I hope they remember, the devs remember for their work on that, but Walking Dead will always be the pinnacle for me. And even if we don't get episodes 3 and 4, I have to say that The Walking Dead final season rivals Life is Strange for me. I can't believe I'm saying that. I never thought I would say that. I think Life is Strange is still my favourite by a little bit, but The Walking Dead final season has put up a really big challenge. So personally for me, I hope the workers get their severance pay. I don't think they will. So as a backup, I really hope that still, regardless of that, we get episodes 3 and 4. That's how where I stand, and I've tried very hard not to say anything that would be derogatory or offensive to anybody, because the main situation, like I said, the main focus should be that the workers get new jobs and get their payback. The payback probably isn't going to happen, but the jobs, as long as they get into jobs, that's all that matters to me. The episodes, I know I want them, but if I could choose between them getting their jobs and like having any way of helping them or getting the episodes, I would get them in the jobs, because that's far more important. But I don't know, I've rambled so much, and like I said, I'm not going to edit this too much because I didn't really see the point. I don't want to do that. But like I said, the main thing to me is knowing what people thought about Telltale Games down in the comment section below. I want to know what you thought about different games, what your favourite ones were. What do you think caused Telltale Games to collapse, if you have an opinion on that front? Do you think it was oversaturation? Do you think they handled things too poorly? Do you think that it was too little too late? I think that is partly the reason, because they did oversaturate themselves, and then when they came back with The Walking Dead the final season, it was brilliant. They had changed so much, they'd improved so much, but sales just didn't support it. A lot of people blame Let's Players for that, and I don't really see where your argument comes into play there. Let's Players have been doing Telltale Games for a long time, and they've managed to stay pretty damn good in terms of money for a while, so I don't really see how Let's Players could have impacted that, because anyone who's going to watch a Let's Player probably isn't going to buy the game anyway. There are either people who don't watch Let's Players and buy the games, there are people who watch Let's Players and also buy the games, which I fit into, and then there are people who just watch Let's Players. That's never going to change depending on the game. There are categories, and you fall into one of those. It's as simple as, or the other category where you just don't play the games. I mean, that is one as well. Let's Players are not the thing to blame for that. I mean, I can say that I've barely played any Telltale, or episodic games, should I say, on the channel, but I can see that that's not something to blame it for. Definitely not. I think, personally, oversaturation, and then too little too late when they changed their ways. The reshuffling and the reorganization of the company was a step in the right direction, but sadly it just wasn't enough, and I will miss Telltale Games. I've said that. I was quite sad to hear the news. I mean, I'm not like I was crying or anything about it, but it's really sad to see, because Telltale Games will always be, to me, one of my favourite developers. For the developing team, as I've said, not for the people who run it, who are not very good at handling the business, shall we say. But when you think about big game companies, to me, you would say Rockstar Games, you would say the people who make Call of Duty, you would say Bethesda, and Telltale Games for me holds a special place up with them. They did something completely special. They did something that no one had ever done before with The Walking Dead and moved it into other games. They did oversaturate the market they created, but that's no reason to basically, completely discount all of that. I mean, there's a quote which is going to be a bit nerdy, but I think it fits really well, from Vision in Avengers Age of Ultron. He said that a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's a quote that I remember, and I really like it, and I think it fits this really well. Telltale Games are not brilliant because they've lasted forever. They're brilliant because what they did and the games they made were fabulous. They were really good, and I will always remember that. I hope The Walking Dead final season gets finished. If it doesn't, then it's not a bad point to leave it on episode 2. They've left it open and in the air, but I think it's a good place to finish it if they do manage to, if they don't manage, to finish it off. But all I can say is thank you, Telltale. Thank you for an amazing array of games. I'm going to go back and play a ton of them as kind of like a little reminder to myself of what was so good. And I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your favourite games? What do you think? I basically went off on a ramble there because I've already said this already, but give me your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. I realised it was a little bit more slow-paced, a little bit more of a discussion type thing. But I do like to do these things occasionally. As you know, I do like to try different videos out sometimes and see what people think. Maybe if people like this kind of video, every now and again, maybe once a month, I might do a discussion style video. Because I don't want to do Payday every week when I'm pushing something that isn't worth a video. I've said that before. So let me know what you guys think. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. As always, very much appreciated. And I just want to say to any Telltale devs who happen to be watching this, if you do happen to be watching it, I really hope you find a job soon. I really do. The work you've put into the games in the past have been remarkable. And it's such a shame the work you put into the games that won't come out will never be seen. All I can say is that I know the effort that you've put in will be of a high standard. It'll be of the standard that we were all used to, and you deserve so much better. But either way, as I've said, thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, feel free to give it some support. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to get talking about what you think about Telltale Games, their best games, what your memories are of them, and what you think about the collapse of the company and what you think is to blame. I'd be very interested to hear. As I've said, plenty of other videos to go and watch. For instance, I would recommend PewDiePie and Boogie. I can't remember the names. Is it 1899, I think? Both of those videos are really good that cover Telltale Games, so go give those a watch and a few other ones if you're interested. But other than that, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all very soon. Thank you for watching and for all your support. Take it easy.